Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Worth Playing series. Today, we're going to see if Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 is worth playing in 2021. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 was first released back in December 2004 to various platforms. It was received positively overall by most critics, achieving high scores on many platforms from different reviewers. It had sold almost 1.5 million copies by early 2006 and continues to make sales to this day. My goal here today is to see if this game stands up to 2021, to give it a brief review for those who may want to play it. With that out of the way, let's play! If you played the first Knights of the Old Republic, you'll know that it was one of the best role-playing games released during the early 2000s, and the sequel was cautiously anticipated as it was being made by a different company. I tried to play the first KOTOR to see if it would stand up to 2021, but I couldn't get it to run without crashing every 5 seconds. You'll be pleased to know that this was not the case with this game. However, I did run into some minor issues that were resolved fairly quickly with the Sith Lords content restoration mod, for which I shall leave a link in the description below. Knights of the Old Republic 2, or KOTOR 2, as I shall be calling it from now, is set a few thousand years before the events of the Star Wars movies, and it's primarily focused on the early struggles between the compassionate, peace-protecting Jedi and the power-hungry, dominating Sith. If you've played the first game, the early setting will be familiar to you. You wake up in a strange place, with almost no knowledge of your past or what kind of person you are. You don't even have a lightsaber. As you explore more of the game and its levels, you discover more about who you are and what has happened to the remnants of the Jedi and the galaxy since the conclusion of KOTOR 1. Your adventures and discovery for knowledge will take you to well-known planets, such as the grassy plains of Dantooine and the smuggler's moon of Nar Shaddaa, as well as some lesser-known and established canon, such as the ancient tombs on Korriban and the lush jungles of Onderon. At the heart of this story is your classic Star Wars theme, the struggles of light versus dark, good versus evil, with some extra depth thrown in. Characters are deeply thought out, and some of the philosophical issues presented give you a genuine stop-in-real-life-to-think moment. It explores the intricacies of the light and the dark sides of the Force, as well as some of the grey areas in the middle. There are some nice Easter eggs thrown in from the first KOTOR, and dialogue is incredibly well thought out and ambitiously voice acted. Throughout the game, you'll face some tough moral decisions, and your companions will question or support your actions, depending on their personality. Alright, and now on to character creation. While character creation is fairly limited when compared to modern games, there are a fair amount of customizations, more than 15 different face combinations available for each gender. As with the first KOTOR, there are 3 classes of Jedi, the Guardian, Consular, and Sentinel. Each of these has an advanced class, known as prestige classes, depending on which side of the Force you're attuned to. While the initial class choice may seem like a binding one, the game allows you to become any of the 6 total prestige classes just by earning light or dark side points. More on those later. Alright, and now on to the main gameplay. As this is a sequel, we can safely use the first KOTOR as a comparison. While the base mechanics are mostly the same, there are a few minor changes that improve the quality of life overall, and I found the UI to be more intuitive and workable. The gameplay can be boiled down to 3 or 4 basic elements: running to objectives and exploration, crafting with the game's workbenches and labs, and dialogue with the game's many NPCs that will change based on your light or dark affinity, as well as particular skills and proficiencies, and combat, which is also similar to the first game, a D20 turn-based system. More on combat later. There are various minigames available throughout as well, including Swoop Racing and Berserk, the game's gambling system. While there may be many similarities to the first KOTOR here, there are also a few improvements. New weapons, armor, and items are available throughout your journey, as well as the almost completely original character cast, many of whom can become your companions as you encounter them. Main characters include your mentor of sorts, Kreia, scoundrel Atten Rand, Darth Sion, who is aptly described as
a Sith Lord that looks like he sleeps with vibroblades,
and many more. When it comes to skills, these are also similar to the first KOTOR, with a few additions. The points for these are earned just by leveling up. Computer use, demolitions, stealth, and awareness are just a few of the skills you can improve, and not having a level in some of these will not allow your character to perform certain actions. Each skill level increase has a different effect, and will increase your ability to, for example, slice into computers to find out information, or increase the amount you heal when you use a mid-pack. Feats are also similar to the first KOTOR, again with some additions. There are a whole bunch of these here, so I won't attempt to cover them in this video. These feats will allow you to use weapons such as lightsabers and unlock additional abilities and perks for your character to use. These are generally well thought out and definitely add some character to the game. Okay, let's talk a little about dark and light side points. Certain dialogue options in the game will earn you light or dark side points for your character. These will accumulate and ultimately determine your prestige class options, as well as unlock additional dialogue options with various NPCs and companions. Compassionate or peaceful actions will earn you light side points, while cruel or angry actions will earn you dark side points. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, so now on to companion influence. A new feature in KOTOR 2 is the ability to gain or lose influence with your companions. Each companion has their own unique set of beliefs and ideals, and it's your choice whether you choose to tell them what they want to hear, or to crush their beliefs, hopes and dreams with a flick of your wrist. And now touching briefly on combat, much like its predecessor, KOTOR 2's combat system is an almost turn-based system with the previously mentioned D20 dice roll. You can pause at any time to issue new commands to your companions, or to get an overview of the battle as it plays out. I highly recommend using this feature, as it saved me a lot of deaths where I otherwise would have died. While combat looks and feels fairly basic at its core, the animations are nice and I didn't feel like it was a chore to continue issuing orders, as I was able to control other characters in my group at the same time, bringing a bit of spice to the situation. Sticking to true Star Wars form, blasters and anything that isn't a lightsaber are vastly underpowered, though I'd come to expect that from previous Star Wars games. There's something intensely satisfying about mowing through countless Sith enemies with a lightsaber, and this game does it particularly well. Some fights are simple, and others will make you rage like a primal animal. I played on normal difficulty through most of my time here, but I will admit to lowering it on occasion to pass a particularly hard section or two. Okay, so a quick overview of the graphics. It's important to remember that this game did come out in 2004, and technology has advanced a lot since then. I tried to avoid judging games by their graphics alone, and I'm glad I did with this one. It's clear that the budget for this game went into everything but the graphics. Environments are blocky, characters are poorly textured at times, with items clipping through basically every outfit in the game. Thankfully, everything else somewhat makes up for it. NPCs and companions are fully voice acted, with hours upon hours of dialogue to go through if you wish, though I will point out that some alien dialogue is noticeably repetitive in some sections. While this can be somewhat immersion breaking, I sympathise with the developers on this one. It's difficult for most people to speak more than one language. Straight up inventing an alien one, even with basic markers to work with, must be nearly impossible. I applaud the attempt of putting alien characters in the game, and overall was pleased with how they were voiced. Other effects and audio are all from previous Star Wars games or movies, and they do get somewhat repetitive after a while. Having said that, they really added to the atmosphere that was created, and I appreciated the additions from the last game. Alright, so the time has come to answer that question. Does Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2 stand up to 2021? As an RPG, an important focus is going to be on the story, and frankly, this game nails it. While it is a little slower than the first KOTOR, it definitely adds to the universe as a whole, and my time spent playing it will always be considered a positive experience. If, like me, you are also an RPG fan, I truly believe you'll have a wonderful time with this game. If you can look past the flaws and see the game for what it is, a philosophical look at the Force and everything between the light and dark side, you will see that this game is a special game, lovingly crafted by obvious fans of the Star Wars universe. You'll probably get at least 40 hours of gameplay out of this gem, with even more possible considering replayability and the way the story can change depending on your decisions. With potentially thousands of hours of voice acting and the pure Star Wars story behind it, Knights of the Old Republic 2 is a real gem that should be enjoyed by RPG fans everywhere. Alright, I think that just about wraps up this video. Thank you so much for watching as always, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. It encourages me to make more. I'll see you next time.